Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, tips to make your business and home more secure.
History-making day in Minnesota surrounding the sentencing that was handed down to Derek Chauvin.
Plus, Governor Walz ending his emergency powers. We'll tell you when. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Security footage and a tip from the community led to an arrest today in a shots-fired incident in downtown Fargo.
The importance of security cameras continues to grow right along with the continued rise in crime. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling met with leaders of the Downtown Business Improvement District in Fargo who explain why.
I think any business, any home should have a camera.
More and more recently, the Fargo-Moorhead area has seen security footage from local businesses used to help law enforcement. Recent example of this was a crime spree by Hunter Havisto, where footage from the Mr. Money was used to show the attempted robbery. Chris Schlepp with the Business Improvement District says that it is important for the community and law enforcement to work together.
The police always are looking for more information, and if everybody has a camera that they're willing to provide the footage, that might help them solve a few more crimes.
This type of footage helps the Fargo Police Department, whether they are looking for people of interest or looking for vehicles tied to certain crimes. The Downtown Community Partnership promotes the use of security cameras, and not just helping law enforcement, but protecting local businesses.
Cameras aren't that expensive, and I think the better quality you can get, that's just going to help everybody, especially if a crime is committed.
Experts have tips on how to make your security system more effective. Have signs and systems. Make them visible. Include lighting. Have sirens in place. Use night vision, and make sure your system is durable.
I think you should get one. I think it's going to help the community, it's going to help your business, it's going to help the police department if something does go wrong. And we're all in this together, so we might as well try to help one another to make sure that people are doing the right thing.
In Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
While there isn't a system in place for the downtown cameras to be connected with the Fargo Police Department, Schlepp hopes to see a network in the future for info sharing.
Despite two recent gun-related incidents remaining unsolved, Fargo's police chief says both cases are far from going cold. The most recent incident was a shots-fired call on June 11th behind Space Aliens, as well as the fatal shooting at the Africa nightclub on May 23rd.
A lot of these incidents are the people involved on both sides of the coin are known to each other. They have either some kind of ongoing dispute or some kind of ongoing criminal activity that brings this violence to a head.
The chief says it's hard to say if gun-related crimes are up compared to this time a year ago, as the department just started tracking that data.
Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22.5 years in prison for the death of George Floyd. The former police officer and convicted murderer appeared in the Hennepin County District Courthouse today to hear his fate. Camila Bernal is in Minneapolis with the details of and reaction to the sentencing.
Outside the Cup Foods where George Floyd was murdered. Reaction to Judge Peter Cahill announcing the punishment for former police officer Derek Chauvin.
Of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months.
In April, a jury found Chauvin guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder for his role in Floyd's death.
This is the longest sentence that a police officer has ever been sentenced to in the history of the state of Minnesota. But this should not be the exception when a black person is killed by brutality by police. It should be the norm.
And as activists push for more change, Chauvin's mother defending her son.
Derek has played over and over in his head the events of that day. I've seen the toll it has taken on him.
And for the first time, Chauvin himself briefly speaking in court.
I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
During sentencing, the Floyd family taking an opportunity to address Chauvin directly.
What was going through your head when you had your knee on my brother's neck?
In Minneapolis, I'm Camila Bernal.
Chauvin also faces other legal issues, including a federal indictment on all 4 officers connected to Floyd's death.
Since his April conviction, Derek Chauvin has been held at the state's only maximum security prison in Oak Park Heights. That's unusual. People don't typically go to a prison while waiting for sentencing, but Chauvin is there for security reasons. Most state prisons have a unit to separate inmates from the general population, but Oak Park Heights has what the Department of Correction calls Minnesota's most secure unit to separate individuals from others in the prison. Chauvin has been kept there alone in a 10-foot by 10-foot cell that is monitored by corrections staff via camera and in-person checks. He also has had meals brought to his room and is allowed out for solitary exercise for an hour each day. It wasn't immediately clear if Chauvin will remain in that unit now that he has been sentenced.
The mystery of what caused the condo collapse deepens in South Florida. At least 4 people are dead, 159 still unaccounted for. Locals are getting more frantic, wondering what caused the building to collapse and are other buildings in danger. Tonight, engineers say they don't know, and it's impossible at this stage to pinpoint it. No survivors were found throughout today's searches.
Have you seen any of these people? Police in Grand Forks say the 5 are this week's weekly wanted. You can see the pictures and description of their crimes on the department's Facebook page. And if you have any information, you can message their page, call, or text a tip with the option to remain anonymous.
Local heroes were honored today relating to a crash back in January. 69-year-old Alan Peterson of West Fargo was driving near Kindred when another vehicle crossed the center line and hit him head on. The driver of the other vehicle died. Today, Peterson earned the ND Safety Council Saved by the Belt Award. Troopers say he survived because he was wearing his seatbelt. 60-year-old Scott Johnson of Lisbon and 31-year-old Spencer Mickish of Walcott were given life-saving awards and awards of excellence. They saw the crash happen, got Peterson out of his burning vehicle, and started performing aid.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will end his pandemic emergency powers in August, nearly 16 months after the peacetime emergency was first declared. The governor said that he'll make the move as long as the virus's grip on the state continues to wane and Minnesotans continue to get vaccinated. Walz's use of peacetime emergency powers has been a point of contention for Republican lawmakers who've been calling for the governor to give up the powers for the last year.
It's a question for health experts around the world. After vaccinations for COVID-19, now what? Next week, the World Health Organization will look at 3 potential booster options. 3 scenarios are laid out. One is an annual 1-dose booster shot for all target populations. Another could call for those 50 years and older to get the annual booster, with other ages every 2 years. The third scenario, no booster at all. The WHO's expert group on immunization will review the options on Tuesday. In a statement, the organization says best and worst case scenarios will be evaluated. The options would cover vaccination strategy for the remainder of this year through 2022.
More than 151 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. That's almost 46% of the U.S. population. 16 states have reached President Biden's goal to vaccinate 70% of adults with at least 1 dose before July 4th. Another 16 states are not too far behind, but the daily pace of vaccinations has dropped off to 735,000 a day. That's of concern to public health experts as the Delta variant continues to spread. Now, if you're looking for places to get the vaccine, how about this? Use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on the homepage of our website, or you can open your phone camera right now, point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up.
The U.S. intelligence community released its long-awaited report on UFOs today, and the end result is that the truth is still out there. In other words, the release of the unclassified intelligence documents reveal very little that wasn't already known. The intelligence community did review 144 reports of unidentified aerial phenomenon and found a logical explanation for just one of them. The 143 cases that are still unexplained largely raise more questions than answers.
Still ahead tonight on Valley News Live at 10. Meet the man who taught himself the craft of welding, and then proceeded to beautify small-town Minnesota.
But first, Nathan joins us with what may be a soggy weekend in some places. Stick around.